Welcome back to Just Kidding News. Out of the closet, here with Steve Greene, totally out of the closet, completely gay. He's going to be talking about
big closet,
selling a bunch of movies, just a bunch. Very good writing.
Mostly gay, a lot of movies. I like we're all just doing Shane Gillis trumpets.
Yeah, we're not even doing Trump.
It's not even ours. It's not even ours.
we can't do the regular.
Yeah, which movie you want to talk about? I guess that's a lot.
What's your favorite? What's one that you want to start with?
I think we got to start with definitely the first one, just like how that came to be.
Yeah.
And then your worst one and your best one.
Was that Internet Famous?
Yeah, Internet Famous was my first movie. It was also me and Mike, right, Gallagher. We would write in his the conference room of his apartment building, like all the damn time, right? Like when we were doing that Valentine's Day sketch that I talked about before, where we did 3 in a row. Like we would write those like in a night. With a movie, it's like, dude, you're writing that shit, and then you're doing drafts and doing rewrites and you got notes from people. We did table reads with people that we liked and knew, and it's just a lot, right? But again, kids, you're working for free. Nobody's paying you to write the damn movie, right? Like you're just working for free. You have no idea if this is ever going to be worth your time or all the expenses that we're going to lunches. I'm driving out to Marina Del Rey every other day or so, and it's really just you have no idea what's going to happen with it, right? So, but we were like, we could do like one of those, like obviously homage to Christopher Guest movies, like Best in the Show, all that stuff like that. Where it's structured, because if you don't structure it and you just rely on improv stuff, fuck games, you're going to spend a shitload of money, right? It's going to be really tough to budget it. You have to know, you have to intentionally know every setup, how you're going to film it that day, how many cameras you're going to need, all that kind of shit, right? So important. So we're writing that just on a song, just having an idea with each other, making each other laugh with it, and then spending hours and hours and hours in this conference room in Marina Del Rey, where we would have to reserve it in advance. And it's mostly just us versus like guys who did like telephone companies or whatever, like who just wanted the conference room to like have a call with people. So we were in there with we always had the script up on the screen, kind of how we did the movies too, where you share the screen and you just like somebody's manning the laptop, the keyboard, and you got an HDMI cable. I had this like 60 fucking footer HDMI cable that I still have to this day. I use it all the time, but that I would bring with me everywhere. And that's it. That's like now you're writing a movie. You got Final Draft, whatever. I had a rip-off copy of Final Draft for years. I never paid for Final Draft, ever, never will. No, I'm kidding. I ended up getting a copy of it, legit, but you have to eventually, or they come down on you pretty hard. So I was writing these movies. well, first Internet Famous. I mean, we got to using Tuber Scum connections, right? Like at the time, I think I was like at 800,000 subscribers, some shit like that. So I was like, this isn't gonna last forever, right? I always talk about that. I know that this is like a moment, but it's not like everything, right? So like, is this stairs or not? Where are you gonna go with it, right? So I was like, okay, this is stairs for me. How do I use these stairs to get where I'm going next, right? So I was like, okay, it's gonna be movies. I've always wanted to fucking do movies, so I'm gonna use tube stuff to get movie stuff. So thanks to Mike had 1 million subs, I had 700,000 subs. We're able to get meetings with people who are like, we would love to just like, what's this say? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what this says. You understand? Oh, this is your script? You guys spent a lot of time on this? I don't give a fuck what this says. You know what I'm saying? I like the numbies on your channel. Yeah. I like that we can aggregate the numbies on your channel and on his channel and on his channel, and depending on whoever else you get. So we can aggregate, package, sell it, right? That's the whole game. By the way, everyone I worked with, it's not like they're scumbags. These are smart people, right? So it's not like, these are a bunch of assholes and they don't care what's on this. It's never about this, right? Yeah. The script is great. It's awesome. You need a script, right? But half the time, how many times do you hear about a Marvel movie, like Kevin Feige and everybody at Marvel talking about Iron Man, where they go, we didn't have a script, we just had a fucking green light and money. And let's go, figure it out. So ultimately, I think that me and Mike did a better job of being prepared for that because we wrote the shit out of this movie and we like proofed it and like we did multiple table reads with nice people that we really like who are really. You have to have people who give you good notes always. You have to have people who are going to be brutal with you. Same way Trenton was brutal with me, right? You have to have honest people who you really respect who are going to go like, hey, I didn't think that was funny. Here's why I think that you could do this or whatever. Or even just like, hey, I didn't think it was funny. Sometimes that's the no. So it's like, cool, how can we retool this and make it more funny, right? And then, by stroke of luck, again, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, we got to meet with these beautiful people who ended up, kind of coming. Well, we sent the script out to a bunch of places. And one of my favorite moments in my entire writing career is actually a secondhand story. Michael was on a studio lot. He was about to meet with this guy named Adi Shankar, who's like a billionaire or whatever. And he was in a golf cart with this like PA, but I think most PAs also read scripts for the people. You know what I mean? Like nobody
To kind of filter it.
executives don't want to read the shit, so they go, you read it and tell them, give me notes. So this PA was like, Mike noticed that the PA was like laughing about something. He's like, what are you laughing at? And I'm not kidding when I say this. This is like true story. Mike was like, the PA was like, oh, I just read this fucking funny script called Internet Famous. And Mike's like, what the fuck? So like he didn't know that Mike was like, yeah, we wrote that. He didn't know that.
Insane.
So the PA was just like, yeah, I just read this really funny script. It's like really funny. And I was like,
Wait, how did they get their hands on it?
so we sent it everywhere, right?
Oh.
And that's why Mike was having that meeting that day.
I see.
So that was the guy who had read it that morning or whatever the fuck. Yeah, and like, so that's like so sick because you're like, dude, we just spent like fucking 10 months, and I remember getting in fights with Nikki over.
Because sometimes it just goes in a pile somewhere.
That's it.
That's
You have
it.
no idea, right?
Yeah.
I remember getting in fights with Nikki though, where she's like, when are you coming home? And I'm like, I have no clue. Like, sometimes me and Mike, when we're in there, we just, I look up and it's 4 a.m. Like, we're just working, you know what I mean? Like it, and that was, but you forget sometimes that you're in a relationship, like with someone who's like cares about you and just wants to know that you're okay. So like, I had to like be better about that because we had no service in there. But that's honestly why we always wrote in there, no matter what. We always wrote in there because we had no
No
service.
distraction?
No distractions whatsoever. And I'm telling you, like, everyone's a phone fiend and stuff like that now, but we weren't on our phone one time. Like, we were not phone boys at all or anything. It was just like, we're in there locked in with each other. And also, we had such, like I said before, we had such good rapport. We could write, make each other laugh all goddamn night. And no complaints, no like, oh, I'm bored or whatever, right? So we just had a great working relationship always. So then, these guys want to fund the movie, which is so sick. And you're like, holy shit, this is actually happening. And then I made sure, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking playing this guy, right? I'm playing this guy, I'm playing Dale. That was like the character that I had written, because I was like, this prank space is so crazy, and people actually view me as a pranker person, but I'm really not a pranker person. I'm a satire person, but that's fine. I was like, I'm going to do a send-up of the prank space by having a channel called That's One Scared Baby, where I just try to scare the shit out of my baby. And that's my character. And then he's ultimately faced with the moral dilemma of like, I think maybe I'm scaring my baby too much.
Oh my god.
The name of the channel is fucking
that's
Which
One
is,
Scared
like,
Baby.
not far from what it became.
It's a send-up of like what it all is, right?
One Scared Baby.
Yeah, it's One Scared Baby. And
silly.
and yeah, and then when we're filming the movie, we had to really scare a baby. That was kind of fucking crazy. Because you can't explain to a baby like what's about to happen. Like, hey, just so you know, like there's a wet lizard is about to come through the wall.
A wet lizard.
You just have a strobe light. You have a wet lizard. You have like a white psych, and you're like, you can't tell the baby like, hey, there's a big wet lizard about to come through the wall. You can't say that. So the baby
Just got scared.
baby gets scared.
I took that L.
Fucking crazy. Baby takes the L. But yeah, so that was, we were. I'll never forget. We filmed the first shot of that movie at VidCon, which was a huge W for us just personally because we'd always wanted to do a movie. Then we're the talk of VidCon. It's like, they're shooting a movie here and all that stuff. It's like, who's doing it? Oh, Steve and Mike. They're doing it. So that's like super cool. And then Shane was in it, and then he had to kiss my girlfriend. And then we had No, beautiful people in this movie. Beautiful people in this movie. I love everybody in this movie. So we filmed it, and it was like a 20-something 5-day shoot, I think. And then we did it for not much money, right? Like we did it for under $1 million. And then you know, we released it, and like then you find out about how studios like how it's called the Return of the Jedi, where like it's like, hey, so we never made money on Return of the Jedi, and you're like, you didn't make money on Return of the Jedi. How the fuck is that possible? But the way that maybe I'm talking out of school a little bit here, but sometimes, and I'm just talking about Return of the Jedi, not about my movie. Sometimes studios can really say that they spent a lot of money on something and then not pay certain people residues because
the way that they do
just
the
didn't make
accounting.
money on the goddamn movie, guys. But then you're like, oh, that's sick. And then people are like, oh, what happened? I heard you sold it to Netflix. And you're like, yeah, we did. And I'm like, oh, that's so sick. And I'm like, yep, it's fucking sick. And but I'm talking about Return of the Jedi. And then, you know, and then me and Mike, you know, in the swirling, you know, of creativity, right? You come up with different things, and Mike had this killer idea for like, he's like, dude, he's like, what are kids scared of the most? He's like, fucking standardized testing. He's like, let's do a fucking movie about like how fucking scary standardized testing is.
SATs?
Yeah. And I was like, that's fucking funny. So he's like, what if if you fail, you die? And I was like, and so growing up, my dad is a huge B movie guy. Like we watched Tremors and like
Tremors!
Yeah, all that stuff, right? So the idea alone to me was a great B movie concept where it's like, dude, I have to see what happens next. If you fail, you die is like so sick. So then we wrote The Thinning. Again, same thing. We don't know who's going to buy it, who's going to do anything with it. We didn't have a deal with anybody. We just wrote it and on spec, just like to see what happens. And then, you know, the beautiful people of Legendary who do like the fucking Batman movies and shit like that. They're like, yeah, we want to do it. So then that was insane. That was like a real deal.
I love The Thinning. Like just
Thank you.
not even
It's for
because
young
you're
adults,
on
you
it,
really should.
but yeah, I mean, I love dystopian world.
It makes no sense
Conspiracy
because
shit.
you're not the demo.
Really?
Well, it was written for young adults, obviously. That's why it's like a love triangle, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's weird that you like it.
It was like YouTube Battle Royale.
No, I really appreciate it. I really do. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that was, you know,
You're not really.
I can't take compliments well. So Logan Paul, right? We got Logan Paul to do it, pre-Japan. Which, by the way, I was a fan of Japan. I was a fan of Japan. No, I'm kidding. No, so what do you say? What do you say? No, so we did that movie with Logan, and yeah, that movie did really well. That is one of those movies where it's like, oh, you know, Return of the Jedi didn't happen here. So that's kind of sick. So then
You get your residues on those?
we get the residues, baby. We still get the rando checks. We're like, oh, whoa, okay, out of nowhere. Oh, that tickles the spot. And then yeah, so that was fun, man. That like it's fun just writing something where you're like, yeah, I mean, this is one of those types of movies. Like it's completely for that audience. And then we get to do a sequel to that. And before we did the sequel, we wrote this fucking movie that nobody will ever see because it will probably never get made, called Kid Fu, where it's called Kid Fu. It's called Raz Cola Presents Kid Fu. It's probably my favorite thing. It's probably my favorite thing I've ever written comedically because it's about these three little white boys who get raised by their Japanese grandfather teaches them kung fu in a weekend in like a 3-day.
So it's a parody of Three Ninjas.
It's a parody of Three Ninjas, and like by the way, they have two white parents, but they have a Japanese grandfather, and the Japanese grandfather exactly.
It's a parody.
Japanese grandfather teaches them kung fu over a 3-day weekend, and then like their Japanese grandfather is like kind of has a beef with like this like other like young like Japanese dude, like businessman or whatever, like bad guy businessman who like has a cell phone and says, yes, it will be done, thank you. Like all that shit. But my favorite thing about the movie is that these kids don't know how to fight very well. So, so when the bad guys come to get them, the bad guys just kick their fucking ass the whole time. The whole time they kick their fucking ass. Like, I'm talking like the kids throw jelly beans that they think the bad guys are gonna slip on, and the bad guys walk right over them, pick up the kid by the throat, and then just fucking throw him on the ground. Like, it's like that. And like the kids think they booby trapped the house because like it's like one of the bad guys walks like on the stairs and he gets hit, but you know those like gummy hands that like he gets gummy handed and he's just like. And then just like smacks the kid. Like they just clean these kids' clocks. And at a pivotal moment in the movie where the kids are like, "What are we gonna do? We are not that good at karate. Actually, we thought we really were. Like, what are we gonna do?" They go to a gun store.
We gotta make this.
They go to a gun store, and then dude, the movie takes a dark turn. It is these three little kids executing ninjas, just executing them in the hallways, because ninjas are like fucking doing all this shit, and like the kids are just fucking blowing their brains out, like fucking putting them on their knees and blowing their fucking heads off, because like guns are the great equalizer. Right? Them on their knees. Yeah, dude. Like one of the kids grabs one of the ninjas, but like after like ninjas gets shot and like stunned or whatever, then the kid grabs a chain, wraps him around his neck, and throws him off a balcony, like shit like that. We're just like these kids are just like, but then the kids are like, the guns are working. So it's like this movie will never get made. But that's the idea, is that this was made by a now defunct cola company called Raz Cola, who bet the whole farm on this. And so like during pivotal moments of the movie, there's like really like slam fucked insertions of product placement for this defunct cola company called Raz Cola, where the kids are always like, they're like, "Oh, whoa, we got Raz Cola," and then you see like, but then it's like a hard cut. So like yeah, you see like the drinks start to expel, but then like they hard cut to like a plant or something. It's just a really like, you could tell that
slapstick.
You could tell that Raz Cola had notes. So then, and one of my favorite parts of the movie too, the kids, like before they get the guns, before the kids get the guns, they're like in that moment of like, what are we gonna do? Dark night of the soul. This is gonna be really like we're not good at karate. So then they go to the CEO of Raz Cola, who then gives like basically like an address about like like inspiring teamwork and shit like that. But like he's wearing one of those like microphones, like, and he's like doing like a Steve Jobs thing. It's like the kids are just sitting there bored. It's like you could tell the director couldn't get one take of them not being bored. So the kids That's great. Yeah. So, but then the CEO guy's basically just like, he's like, and that's what inspiration's about. When I founded Raz Cola, like we didn't know what we were gonna do, but guess what? We pulled ourselves up by bootstraps and we fucking accomplished things. And then these kids, you come to these kids and just like. Yeah.
This needs to be made.
Dude, it's fucking stupid,
and this has
dude.
already been sent out to different places?
Yeah.
It's already been purchased, but it's just like dusted on the shelf.
I wish. No, this one we got no bites on.
I wonder why.
People got it, plus kids with guns, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh, guns are the solution? Really? Like that, right? But it's a total parody, send-up satirization.
We should do like a crowdfunding so that we can produce it.
I know, right? Well, plus, if you guys remember Three Ninjas, remember Three Ninjas?
Yeah.
Remember
I still watch it.
specifically when the kids are like, they're like, our dad never wants to hang out with us. Like, oh shit, right?
The 90s
In
movie.
this movie, we sent up that. We're like, okay, if that's the one, it's like my Cardinal Rule comedy. If that's the one, okay, if that's the one. So like we came up with this concept where they're always like, Dad never wants to hang out. Yeah, duh, as always. Oh yeah, Dad can't do anything because he's working and all that stuff. So we came up with a side plot where the dad works for the FBI, and the president's daughter has been kidnapped by terrorists, and they're going to kill her. And the terrorists are trying to negotiate something, and the dad is working at home, and he's like on the phone, and then the kids pick up the phone like, "Hey Dad, what are you doing? You doing cool FBI stuff?" And then the dad's like, what? No, sons, no. And then, oh, well, dad, yeah, of course, dad doesn't want to hang out. He's doing FBI stuff again. And then the terrorist's like, what the fuck? FBI stuff? And then you just hear gunshots. And then like, you just see like news things in the background of like the president's daughter has been murdered and stuff like that. And then like, so slowly through the movie, you see like the dad is like being arraigned and like he's like going to court. But like it's like, yeah, dad can't hang out because he's going to court.
Dad got arrested.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, of course dad can't hang out. He's probably going to jail. And it's like, yeah, what even happened with dad? I thought you were an FBI guy. So like, it's just they completely fucked their dad over. And yeah, it's another one. Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever written. I fucking love that movie. So Kid Fu. Raz Cola presents Kid Fu.
Really quick though,
Coming out summer 2029.
for Internet Famous, was that the first like feature you and Mike got together to write? And then, so for the first one you guys wrote, it actually got picked up.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
And before that, what was your experience? Did you guys write just sketches together?
We wrote sketches, yeah.
Okay, so you have like...
We wrote a cartoon show called Dino Yacht Club.
Oh, so you have miles with them. So like you guys wrote together, but this was your first feature.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And again, I credit the fact that we had numbies on the tubes to like leverage against the script, right? Like, that's ultimately, I think, what greased the skids and made the whole thing happen. But as far as my favorite thing you asked me that earlier is this movie called Funny Story. It's an actual like real movie. It's not like a tuber movie or anything like that. It's like a complete just real movie. You would never know tubers were involved with it. Starring Matt Glave, the bad guy from The Wedding Singer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually got produced.
We did it ourselves.
Nikki's in it too.
Yeah, he's making out with Nikki.
He's making out with Nikki. It was like 9 days after we got married too, so I was cucked right away.
Yep.
And then
Steve was jacking off while he was making out.
I had
with
a
her.
bone the whole time. And then no, but it's a movie about a dad who is estranged from his daughter because he spent his whole life as like an actor, like almost like William Shatner type on like a very popular show. And the movie's about him trying to get them back together, but there's a big problem because on accident, the dad kind of has sex with his daughter's girlfriend because he doesn't know that his daughter's a lesbian, and he doesn't know that the girl that his daughter asked him to pick up is his daughter's girlfriend. So his daughter's girlfriend is like coming off of a funeral that she had for her mother, and like she's in a vulnerable spot, and the dad's just like oof, he doesn't know what the fuck happened. So then he picks her up for a road trip up to like they're supposed to all hang out at this like retreat where they're gonna tell everybody the good news, we're getting married and all that stuff. And then the dad like gets drunk and they fuck each other, and then like the movie's about that, about like
Holy shit.
yeah, dude, it's fucking and there's layers to it that will peel back the whole time. And to me, that was like a really fucking fun thing that we wrote, and I love that movie. Yeah, Funny Story. Check it out.
Where can they watch Funny Story?
I think everywhere. I think like
Is it on Netflix?
it's on Netflix. It's on like
it's on Netflix?
It's on. No, I don't think it is right now, but on Amazon and on iTunes or anything like that, you can buy it right now for sure.
Internet Story was on.
Internet Famous is on Netflix. Yeah,
On Netflix, yeah.
I think it's still on Netflix.
Sick.
Yeah, dude.
I want Raz Cola Presents though.
Hey,
Dude.
hey, we gotta
Kid
do
Fu.
the crowdfunding. We gotta do the crowdfunding for Raz Cola
That movie.
presents
That movie,
Kid
man.
Fu.
So
But when we come back, the mecca of conversations for Steve's impactful moments, where we get to finally talk about Bing 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 crypto.
Let's go, baby.
Crypto.